So we're doing SIS Imports in U. A little bit about me quickly. I'm an instructor engineer. I started in December, I think. Previously, I worked with Josh at his backup company doing, petabyte scale like database systems and backup and stuff like that. I think I unfortunately ended up getting a patent pending. So I have a software patent probably, which is regrettable. I'm a former Google engineer. I'm currently working on my PhD at the U for programming languages and static analysis. Prior to that, I got a master's, and then I got an undergrad degree for math and computer science at University of Minnesota. My thesis honors research was in predicting user behavior. Currently with Instructure, I'm working on doing machine learning and artificial intelligence to predict user behavior to do automated provisioning for our cloud system. So we're going to do SIS imports in U, though. I'm going to try and I'm sort of interested in having people interrupt me. Like if you have a question, like I'd rather address it when it's relevant. So if you have a question, just let me know. Raise your hand, and we can go for it. What?
How much ketchup?
The question is, how much ketchup do I put on the bacon? And I don't put any ketchup on bacon. The comment was lies. There is a blog. I do fun stuff occasionally. This is me jumping out of a plane in a gorilla suit. You can thank my brother for that one, actually. He encouraged me to go. Okay, so this is what we're going to talk about, just in case you're like wondering what I'm going to talk about, whether or not your question's relevant. We're going to talk about just a brief introduction to student information systems. I'm sure if you're here, you already know about them. Canvas data model, which is important to know. Getting data into Canvas. Grade exchange, we're going to cover a little bit, but mostly we're going to spend time on a case study with Banner. So just so you know, like how you integrate a system with Canvas. And then we'll take questions. For the most part, I think questions are probably going to be the most important part of this talk, so I want to leave a lot of time for that. Okay, so student information systems. This is kind of what I feel like they're for. Just kidding. So they're for an institution hierarchy, like if you want to keep track of your institution's hierarchy. They're for courses, enrollments, schedules, grades, right? Like, you know most about these things. We're going to talk about Banner a lot, of course, because that's what we had the most experience so far with. But, University of Utah is using PeopleSoft. DataTel is another one. And then there are actually, researching for this talk, found an open source SIS solution that looks kind of like Canvas. It's cloud hosted and kind of cool looking. But who knows if that's good? I don't know. So Canvas data model. So let's imagine that you have a crazy go nuts university, and you have two main departments, engineering and business, and within those there's sub-departments, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and accounting, right? So this might be a possible hypothetical scenario. In Canvas, these are all considered accounts. Accounts can either be a root account or a sub-account, and a sub-account is just parented by some other account. You can have arbitrary levels of hierarchy in the account system with Canvas. In Canvas, it looks like this. So if you click if you're an administrator in Canvas, you can click the sub-accounts tab, and this is what Crazy Go Nuts University looks like. Let's say you have two courses, mechanical engineering 2403 and accounting 1201. We're going to just ignore electrical engineering because it's too complicated. For the most part, that's true anyway. The interesting thing about Canvas is that unlike a lot of student information systems and LMSs, course content is stored at the course level and not the section level. So this makes a lot of things easy, but it's sort of a paradigm shift. For instance, this actually makes cross-listing relatively simple and straightforward. So just so you're aware, if you are expecting courses to be sort of folders for sections, that's not true. Content is at the course level. So again, courses, this is a sample course page. I'm sure you've seen a course page. This is my intro to statistics course. Sections. Let's say you have a section for mechanical engineering 2403. Let's say it meets on Monday and Wednesday and Tuesday and Thursday. So there's two sections for that course. And then let's say accounting just meets on Monday and Wednesday. The interesting thing is, let's say that mechanical 2403 is taught by the same professor. The content is shared. They don't have to copy the content. This makes it very easy for them, and that there is, just the content at the course level. The section doesn't need to have a lot of duplicated effort. If you are hoping to have different content, we sort of feel that that's a different course. So you would probably be interested in having a different course in Canvas for different content. So course sections you can actually see in the UI in the settings for a course. And they sort of just look like this. You can click them and look at what students are enrolled in a course. So this is a section. This is my course. I'm teaching the Foreman children, George Foreman. An enrollment belongs between a section and a user. So Canvas has users and sections. That's how the enrollments work there. Terms are another data type in Canvas, and courses belong to terms. So if you want to restrict availability to a term or something like that, that's how that works. You can also have groups for student activities or things like that. Groups you can deal with a student information system. There's a group data type, and you can just have users in them. So this is the group of George Foreman's first 3 children. So cross lists. So it turns out, like I said, cross lists are easy actually. Since content is stored at the course level, often cross listing is sort of complicated in that you want to take a bunch of sections and say these all share the same content. So let's say this is a common, let's say this is our hypothetical scenario. We have those 3 sections. Let's say they're actually all 3 of them. This is accounting 1201 and mechanical 2403. Maybe this is my intro to statistics class. So it has the same content. I'm teaching all 3 sections. So what we can do is just cross-list the course. By cross-listing a section, we just move it. You'll notice that there's a dotted line when a section is cross-listed. It retains its information about what course it originally belonged to, so you can uncross-list or move it back or something like that. It can retain that information. There's a user interface for doing this, but you can also do this through the student information system interface. Okay, so getting data in. So this is kind of what you care about, right? You don't want to do this manually. You have thousands of courses. I'm going up. Okay, so we have a CSV format. This stands for comma separated values. CSVs are sort of a standard alternative to XML for simple structured data. We don't actually care about the file names of the CSV files that you submit. It's just the headers. So the headers determine how we process the CSV files. So you can actually batch import a ton of different CSV files in the same zip file. Doesn't matter, just as long as the headers are right. And you can submit as many as you want in a zip file. And we have the full format documented online. We have these are the list of all of the types that you can upload. So users, accounts, terms, courses, sections, enrollments, groups, group membership, and cross lists. The documentation for each one of these types is on our website, and we'll have I'll have links to that, how you can get that there. But just a couple of important notes. Each row in a CSV needs a unique ID, and usually your student information system has this for you, like a unique, like a course ID or a user ID that uniquely determines that ID across your entire institution. So each CSV row needs one of those. Some of our clients have started sending us unencrypted passwords, and we just want to encourage you to use the encrypted password option. There's a salted SHA hash version of a password. This allows us to determine whether or not the user entered the correct password, but we don't actually have that password data. It's a little bit better for privacy and not sending everyone's password in the clear. So that's an encouraging, a thing that we encourage people to do. And then let's see, what's my note about crosslist? Oh, the crosslist CSV file, it's got 3 columns in it. It's got a course ID and a section ID. If the course, what you can use the course ID column for is just the name of the cross listing. If that cross listing references a course that doesn't exist, it will be created for you. So this way you don't have to keep track of whether or not you've created a cross listing. You can just cross list courses together to some new cross list ID, and that will end up creating a course. So it all ends up looking sort of relatively similar to maybe what your student information system is used to. So, okay. So right now we support CSV, and then we've written an adapter for the IMS ES 1.1 XML standard. So that's what Banner actually outputs. What we do is we actually just take the IMS XML and we translate it into CSV. We don't have any special support for Banner. We're just turning it into CSV and then importing it the normal way. And then we'll add formats as we need them. So if you have some format that you want, I know the University of Utah did their PeopleSoft integration to our CSV format, I think, but if that's something that you need, that's something we can do. When you want to submit data, in the account section, there's a SIS Import tab if it's been enabled for your account. And you can just upload the CSV directly to our website. Like, you batch import it, like you import a CSV file or an XML file or a zip file of the two. Like, you have to specify the type, whether or not it's using our plugin for XML or IMS XML, or if it's for the CSV. So if you want to do live events, if you went to John's talk on the API, it just uses the API. You can submit XML or CSV or zip files through the API. So, but same sort of things apply. You need to have an API key, or the token, or however you want to authenticate, plain text plain authentication through HTTP. You just post. And this is actually how Blake was actually able to set up Banner live events going to our Canvas instance. There's a message system listener that's listening and submitting XML to Canvas through the API. So the API gives you a lot of flexibility for integration with real-time events and other things. There's a few other settings, like we have a batch mode. Like, what happens if your student information system isn't keeping track of, reliably about what courses are getting deleted, and you want things to get deleted out of Canvas that have been deleted from your student information system. You can mark a SIS import as canonical. Like, you can say that this data for this term is something that I want, and I don't want anything else. And so Canvas can actually go ahead and delete anything that's not currently present in the current SIS import. So you can do a batch export of your current student information system and just mark everything else as deleted. It's restricted to a term for good reasons. Some student information system fields are sticky, so if a user changes them in the user interface, we don't actually want the student information system to change them back. So if the user changes their password or their display name, if an administrator does a cross-listing, we want to make sure that that user interface change has been maintained, as opposed to having the next time a real-time event comes in, blowing away the user's changes. So names, passwords, cross-listing, and we're trying to give UI changes priority. So if you change something in the UI, then the student information system often won't be able to override that. We need to improve sort of the clarity about when the student information system can override that, and resetting those fields and stuff like that. But for the most part, basically UI changes have priority. So Grade Exchange. Grade Exchange is sort of a new feature that we're adding. You get this new tab on the settings page for a course. The teacher can initiate publishing grades. They just click the button. This is how it gets enabled. You won't see this page. These are the settings that Canvas admins can change for where grade export is going. Like, it just publishes to an HTTP endpoint. We publish some CSV. Basically, the flow is Canvas publishes to the student information system at an HTTP endpoint, and then optionally you can configure it to wait for a response from the student information system about whether or not the grade publishing was successful. So the things that are sent are who's publishing, like the teacher, the section that is currently being in question, the student, the enrollment, and then the grade or score. So we do both letter and number grades. And then if you're going to return back, you need to reply with the enrollment, or if it was published or error. So okay, so case study. So Banner SunGuard is a pleasure to work with. Yeah, it's been great. They use the IMS standard. So this is why we're using our XML. They support live events through their message broker adapter, which is they already had in place for Moodle. They are currently working on an additional plugin for receiving grade exchange, and that'll be done soon. So some sort of notable exceptions, like I said, courses are viewed as folders in Banner, which is not how Canvas views them, right? Content is at the course level in Canvas, and not really is the expectation in Banner. So, and sections have content. That's the sort of expectation from most of the schools that I've talked to that are using Banner. So those are some sort of caveats that we had to deal with this Banner integration. So.